What's up, everybody? We've got Blackbeard versus Shanks, and you might be wondering, why am I playing Blackbeard? Well, I made a bet, I made a wager with a friend who was going to a regional here recently, and basically the wager was, I despise this deck, despise this leader, hate playing against it, but I basically said, hey, if you make day 2 at the regional, right, so top 32, I think, out of like 600 players, I'll play Blackbeard. And yeah, he did it. He actually made top 8. That's the guy I made the video of a few weeks ago. I actually interviewed him. He gave us his deck list as well as some really awesome tips and tricks. So definitely check out that video. Link to it in the description below. But yeah, we're playing some Blackbeard today against Shanks. And I'm not very incredibly experienced with this deck, but we're going to try it out here. Hopefully try to play as tightly as I can. I did run a few games on the sim before taking this to locals, as well as watching some gameplay videos from some other content creators that are pretty proficient at this deck. We're gonna see how well we do against Shanks here, and we'll see here. It's been honestly a hot minute since I've played against Shanks. There haven't been too many Shanks players rolling around in my locals here recently, but looks like Shanks is gonna start to make a return here. And I make a big mistake here, and I pitch the Shiryu away for a 1k counter, and then they immediately play a Sanji. That was completely my misstep there. I forgot that Shanks runs like 3-drop Sanji and 5-drop Luffy, which is not something Shanks has run in the past. And again, first time playing against Shanks in a while, and I give away basically one of the best cards to counter Sanji here in the early turns. And instead, now I'm looking at a hand of Searchers. So it feels a little bad to make that mistake, but we're going to keep piling through. Nobody's perfect, but we're going to see if we can still manage this matchup. Obviously, nothing's lost just yet. We're still sitting at 5 life, but we know that Sanji's going to start hitting us which is going to be pretty annoying. But we're going to start with the My Era Begins. Going to look at top 3. Likely just going to grab a 2k here. I think we already have the Kuzan in hand, potentially for the next turn here. I think what we're doing is looking for a Burgess, and I mistakenly throw the cards on the bottom of my deck. We fix that real quick because My Era Begins trashes things, and we get those in trash instead. Looking for a Burgess right now would be pretty great. I think we're just going to go ahead and swing a 6k into lead just so we can get around leader effect. And then I think we're going to search with the Lafitte here. So we're going to just play out the Lafitte. We're going to activate it. It's basically a pseudo blocker for us. Let's look at the top 5, see if we can find ourselves something cool. We do find another Shiryu, but I want to find a Burgess, and there is no Burgess here. So I have a choice. I could grab the Lafitte, could grab the Shiryu, could grab the Kuzan. I've already bottom decked one other Kuzan, so maybe trashed one other Kuzan, so maybe I shouldn't pick that one up. But we're going to pick up the Shiryu for now, wishing we had it this last turn. We're going to use it to pitch. And again, look at the top 3 here. We find a 2k and a kill spell. Could take the kill spell here, but it might honestly be important to keep some 2ks in hand instead, just because I know we've got a Sanji. There could be a Rush Luffy on this next turn. I did take second, so we could expect that on the next turn. So I probably want to stack up on a little bit of counter to try to stay relatively healthy here in the early game. Not pitching any for leader ability right now. From my understanding, especially against Shanks, usually once they hit 7 Dawn plus is when you're going to start pitching for leader ability. So swings into Lafitte, Lafitte being a nice little blocker, and then a 2k out of hand. And then we're going to see Rush Luffy come down. Rush Luffy's going to swing, going to attach Arrested Dawn to himself, swing 7k. We're going to take that one here. Unfortunately, no trigger off the top. Would have loved to see, like, I bid 500 million or a finger pistol to clean up that Luffy. This is the Teach Casino, I think, what people have dubbed it, right? So I'm running 4 of the I bid 500 millions, which, if you don't know, KOs or returns a character of 6 cost or less off of a trigger, and then 4 of the finger pistols, which is a typical staple in Blackbeard already. On the 6th Dawn turn, we have a Kuzan that we're likely going to play this turn. What I would really love to do is to find a Burgess right now. If I could establish a Burgess, that would be pretty good, as I already have quite a bit in trash right now, so I know I wouldn't have to worry about that. But we're going to go ahead and start with a 5k into the Sanji here. Opponent could just, leader effect minus, and then a 2k to save the Sanji, but they could also just let it go, and they're going to use a leader effect 2k to save the Sanji, so that's a little annoying for me. And I have a few plays, and I think we're going to start with the Kuzan here, just electing to maybe play the Shiryu out of yard and drawing a card off the Kuzan. Debating if we want to use the stage just yet. We could pitch the other Shiryu to the stage to try to find something else, and that's what we're just going to go ahead and pitch for leader ability, because the opponent's going to be on Dawn, 7 Dawn on the next turn. We're going to just do one of the cool little things about playing Kuzan is you can pitch whatever card you want to put into play off leader ability and then grab it out of play for Kuzan to put right back into play for you. And now I have a decision here. We've got a Shiryu that can clean up a Sanji, but I could also instead clean up the Luffy, and that's using this stronger here. It's honestly, you know, not something you see a lot of people play from hand very often, but it is that tech piece to allow you to just do an additional -2. So we're going to play stronger out. We're going to have to trash a card from our hand and sacrifice the stronger. I think we're going to just give this other Shiryu 2k out of our hand. We're going to trash that. We're going to draw a card off stronger, give -2 to something, and then we're going to use Shiryu's ability to KO the Luffy, taking the Luffy out, which ended up being pretty nice. We did end up finding I bid 500 million off of the free draw, which means we can cycle that pretty freely off of the stage. And we're just going to be passing back here. Shiryu's going to be a nice little just constant pinger, right? I'm just going to be pinging as much as possible as once we get into the later game here. Gonna be pretty set straight on what we're gonna be playing. Blackbeard doesn't have a whole lot of fluctuations on curve from my understanding. Typically in the earlier game you have a little bit more freedom, right, to decide what you want to do, but in the later game you kind of want to be establishing bodies, something like Burgess, as well as once you get the 10 Dawn, it's just Blackbeard City, right? It's just slamming as many Blackbeards as you can at that point. We're gonna see a 7k go into lead. Now remember, if I had not made the dumb mistake 2 turns ago, that Sanji would have never hit me for 6 and never hurt me for 7 here. So definitely kicking myself in the shin for completely missing that. And I guess that's just my lack of knowledge in this matchup. It's been a hot minute since I've played against Shanks. We're going to just give him a 2k for 6k hit. We're going to see a Yasop come down. Yasop just going to not do anything because, again, leader on plays were turned off. And we're going to go up to our 8 Dawn turn. We do have a pretty simple turn here. I was just going to go Burgess into Burgess, right? That's a pretty solid play, but I did end up picking up a finger pistol, which could readily take care of that Yasop, which actually might be quite better here than establishing 2 Burgesses. We'll see here what we end up doing. We're going to go 5k into the Sanji. Just going to let it go this time, and likely going to use instead save the leader ability for this Shiryu, but we're going to use stage first. We're going to pitch an extra Burgess. Looks at the top 3. Take a peek here, and we do find a Martial D Teach, which is pretty solid at this point. We already have one in hand. Would love to have a second just so we can kind of go teach into teach. And thinking here, if I want to swing with the Shiryu, if there's even any point to swing with the Shiryu, just because it's going to get that negative 1000 off of leader ability. And we're just going to play the finger pistol, clean up the Yasop, play out the Burgess, and then likely pitch to leader ability here just to keep shutting off things. And now that Burgess is in play, that's when I start to fan out the yard. Got to see how many cards we got in there. That is a whole lot of cards. I think that's a 10k Burgess, right? I think that was 5 piles I just laid out. So that's a nice little 10k Burgess. Likely not going to get, even if I leave on plays on, very much not going to get taken out by Beckman here. But I think we're gonna just pitch the other Burgess to leader ability and pass, basically with two non-counters in hand. And I think this is my second mistake of the game, and that is potentially leaving some counter up, because my opponent, I think, is on the 9 Dawn curve, right? So well, I guess not leaving any Dawn up doesn't matter. So we're gonna take that one. He's gonna play down a big old Lucky Roo, and then just looks like he's just going to leave 1 Dawn up here, and we're likely going to start doing some swinging here. Lucky Roo's a little annoying. It's likely going to clean up the Shiryu, so we definitely want to swing with the Shiryu first, just because he won't be able to take out the Burgess. We end up picking another Burgess off the top of the deck. We've got 2 Blackbeards, a Burgess. We're going to actually just play the Blackbeard down and shut down the good old Lucky Roo, so no free blocks this time, as well as no leader abilities for the Shanks. And we're just going to start with a few pings. So we're going to send a 5k at lead. It's going to require either a life or a card out of hand. Simple enough. Go another 5k at lead. Decide here. Yep. And then another, this is a good 10k at lead. And then now we're going to pitch for leader ability, and this is where I make the flub, right? So the turn before, leaving with no counter in hand, not a big deal. This turn though, we're going to the 10 drop Shanks territory, and if my opponent plays 10-drop Shanks this turn, he's likely going to swing first, and I really don't want to be setting myself down even lower here. So he's swinging 5. I have to take it. And now he plays down Shanks and is going to swing Shanks. And man, I have to take that one too, because I cannot block with the Blackbeard. So I've set myself in one turn down to 0, where if I had a 1k counter in hand, I would have still been at 1 here. And I think you're starting to understand what potentially is happening here as my AC kicks on. We got ourselves a potential issue, which I'm gonna be honest, in this game I was not thinking about it, but it's one of Blackbeard's biggest weaknesses, and we're gonna see if my opponent ends up having it. And that's 10-drop Roger. Now that I've set myself to 0, my Blackbeard's not nearly as successful at protecting me as I thought they would be. If I had just cycled away one Blackbeard and had a 1k counter in hand, kept the Burgess in hand, I could have still been at 1 here, which is a much better position, as we're likely just going to play another Blackbeard out here. We're going to go for Blackbeard number 2. Going to slam that down. Now we're going to lock down the Shanks as well as leader ability, and we're going to do a little bit of swinging here because we need to finish the game. So in my mind, I feel like I'm in a pretty solid spot right now, able to just constantly just keep pinging life, and then hopefully maybe take him down to 1 life here, and he's just gonna take it, gonna leave Lucky Roo up, and now we're gonna swing 12k, and he's gonna go ahead and block it. Doesn't want to go to 0 himself, and he's gonna KO the Shiryu, and then likely gonna pass back to him after I use leader ability here. I think we're gonna decide whether we want to keep the teach or not. I think at this point, pitching the teach might actually be pretty nice, because I don't think we really need a 3rd teach, especially with this board state. We got a Shanks that can't attack. I guess the only fear I have right now is like a dragon would be pretty annoying, and that's why, yes, we completely pitched the Blackbeard. And now we've got 2k, 1k, and exactly what I didn't even realize. It wasn't in my radar, but Roger comes out and steals the game from me, and that is where, if I had countered out of that Shanks hit 2 turns earlier, I would have been at 1 life, and then I guess I could have tried to not set my opponent down to 0 either, but looks like either way, Roger able to clean it up. If you enjoy this type of content, it's specifically not Blackbeard, if you enjoy gameplay in general, definitely subscribe. Probably won't be playing Blackbeard on the channel again, but yeah, if you enjoy this type of content, definitely subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.